All right, that sounded fun, whatever's going on out here. After hanging out back with Corinne during that and imagining what was going on, we decided two things would be appropriate. One would be I want to convey a message. I know Corinne's presentation is called A Life's Work. She wants to be clear, she still has a lot of life to go, so don't take that the wrong way. And the second is, thought it might be good to improvise a little bit and do something, because that's something I've learned from Corinne, interactive, because it seems like with meditation, people might be feeling a little lulled to sleep. So I thought I'd start with an exercise, which is, how many people here have ever designed a line of jewelry? Any takers? Oh, I thought I'd get at least 5. How many people have ever designed something that Oprah has picked as one of her favorite things? I thought I'd get 0. And how many people have ever designed something that Oprah has actually worn live on TV as one of her favorite things? I also thought I'd get 0. Well, the person I'm introducing has actually done all 3, and I was going to end with that, but instead I've started. So I feel very fortunate to be here introducing Corinne Grousbeck, somebody who I admire and respect on many different levels. She is often accurately called a force of nature, setting her sight on something and getting it done, and I believe that that is unbelievably accurate. And as she says, I think we're very fortunate, all very fortunate, that she uses her powers for good rather than evil, as if you know her, you've heard her say. You may know Corinne for her seemingly endless work with nonprofits, which I won't lay out the complete list here today, but what I wanted to focus on was another context to which I know Corinne. So back in 2011, I was introduced to Corinne in a very particular context. She wanted to be part of a business that had promise, but really needed to find its voice to soar to new levels. And I don't know how many people here are familiar with Gemvara.com, but what I do know for sure is that that number is far fewer than it was back before I met Corinne in 2011. She did great things. So what I wanted to do in the spirit of today, before I asked Corinne to come out, is go through what was supposed to be 5, and the 5th one was Oprah. 4 things that I really admire about her. The first, I very much admire Corinne's versatility and her effectiveness and her ability to get things done. Oftentimes when she was with us at Gemvara and we were working day to day, she would be running from one board meeting or going to pick up Campbell, but in her time going in and out from meeting to meeting, she was always on her A game. So, Corinne, if you're listening, no pressure today. 2, which I guess has made it into a presentation today, I admire her speed of Twitter adoption. If you're not following CB Grousbeck on Twitter yet, you should. She's phenomenal. 3, I admire that she always does what she believes is right. And as someone who worked closely with her, I can tell you she is anything but a yes person. And that is something that whether it's with the nonprofits that she's working with and supporting, or is in the context of building Gemvara, is hard to find and something I very much admire. And lastly, I admire her generosity in terms of her belief and her support. And what I mean by that is whether that's a kid from Maine that doesn't know anything about branding or building a business and coming in to help him take a business to a new level, or it's one of the many people that she's helped along the way, whether it's through her nonprofit charity work or in her personal life. Her generosity in those many ways is something I very much admire. So without further ado, I would like to introduce and welcome to the stage Corinne Grousbeck.
Gosh, you never know what someone thinks about you until they introduce you. That was really nice, Matt. I think he's running out here right now. I told him I'd wait till he got here. So thank you all for coming. I have no idea why I was asked to do this today, so hopefully you'll get something out of my remarks for you. When I was in the 4th grade, my Austrian immigrant dad, who was very old world in his outlook, attended my parent-teacher conferences. Mr. Williams informed him in a very disappointed tone, "Mr. Bassler, your girl is very smart, but unfortunately, she's jealous with her knowledge." Much to my dad's credit, he conjured up a very uncharacteristic pro-feminist response. He pointed his index finger in Mr. Williams's face and said, "You would never say that about a boy." Now, I'm not sure what type of knowledge I had that I jealously guarded when I was an 8-year-old, but suffice to say that after 40-odd years, I actually have acquired a considerable bank of real knowledge and experience that, in honor of my father, I'm going to share with you here today. And because, like you, I'm a girl from the ad world, I'm going to share these in their tweeted form. So take that, Mr. Williams. Now I'm not going to profess that any of these insights are new or original, but I can tell you that they are road-tested personally by me. Some of the particulars of my story can be a little dramatic, so try not to get caught up in the details. I'm calling these tweets hindsights, as in, I wish someone told me these things 40 years ago. So cue the first. So these are Corinne's hindsights. Hindsight number 1. Oh, is this me? Oh, look at that. Technology. Yay. This is not going to be new to anyone. Life is the stuff that happens when you're busy making plans for your life. I used to be really type A, and like being on the A list or on the A team, I smugly thought that being type A was better than all those other personality types out there. I was all about control, and for a while it was actually working for me. Whatever I put my mind to, I achieved. Voila. I went boldly in the direction of my dreams until one day, I quite literally tripped over reality. When I was 21, I was busy working for P&G and putting the finishing touches on my wedding plans. I had picked out the dress and the matching invitations and my future condo. The night of our engagement party, my fiancé, Ed, was tragically killed in a car accident. I was completely derailed. The day after his funeral, I got a job offer from a large Detroit ad agency. This was the break I had been waiting for, so I took it. And I immersed myself in learning everything I could about advertising. So you could kind of say that advertising saved my life. When I wasn't looking, I found my husband, Wick, or maybe he found me. I hadn't planned on getting involved in another relationship, like ever. After dating a couple years, Wick announced he was accepting a position in San Francisco and wondered what I thought about that plan. I suggested, not in so many words, that I wouldn't upend my life and career without a ring. So he gave me 2. I hit San Francisco at a time when a lot of agencies were laying off. I got my big break when a former client of mine at B of A joined Saatchi & Saatchi, and they needed account managers to help pull off a huge pitch for Hewlett-Packard. There was no job unless we won the business, so I literally had to sing for my supper. Now, I've told this part of my story many times, but never to an audience full of sympathetic ad clubbers, so I'm kind of excited to see how this plays. At the 11th hour and 59th minute, I, as the junior person, was tasked with going back to the creative department to see how the campaign was coming along. Oh, good, you can all relate. I've been given a million assurances that the creative was on track, brilliant, they needed some coffee, and I should leave them alone. Being a high-tech company, we knew HP would need to see some really great concepts in order to understand the direction we were recommending. HP's #1 product in those days was the LaserJet printer, which was relatively new to market. When the CD finally unveiled their big idea, it was an image of a high-rise office building. A couple of masked thieves appeared out a window, lowering a rope to steal the LaserJet printer from the office a floor below. I can't even remember the copy because the visual was so incredibly stupid. So I got really nervous and I started riffing and I said, the ad needs to convey what the printer does for the user, you know? Like, what's the benefit of using a laser printer over the conventional dot matrix? They looked at me with blank stares. Now, it wasn't like I hadn't written a creative strategy months before this either. I was sweating and I blurted out, look, when your job is on the line, as was mine, you need to look good and impress a client. I mean, are you gonna print the report on some crappy printer or on the laser printer? When it really matters, you better do it on the LaserJet. Realizing they didn't have a better idea, the team drafted a bunch of concepts with the tagline, better do it on a LaserJet. We presented it to the CEO the next day. He loved it. It was the first time an ad campaign communicated an actual emotional connection to their high-tech brand. HP makes you look good. Not only did we win the printer business, but we got the entire $35 million account. And based on our work, HP hired our international offices as well. So while I never got credit for the winning campaign, of course, I did get promoted to VP, being the youngest VP at the largest agency in the world. Okay, but I digress. Back to the plan. I always said I would start a family once I reached VP. I just hadn't planned to get there at 26. So the plan was to have a couple of children in quick succession and keep my contacts warm so I could seamlessly return to work. The day I took leave, I gave birth to my daughter, Kelsey. Thanks for coming, Kel. And spent 2 awkward but blissful years learning to become a mom. Then, boom, plan in motion. This time, a boy, Campbell. But something wasn't right with Campbell. At 3 months, we learned he was blind, totally blind. I didn't plan on that one. This was something I had no idea how to navigate. I never entertained going back to work ever again, because this was my choice. I knew I would need to be there every waking moment to gauge his progress and address his needs. This wasn't something I could trust someone to do for me, because I wasn't even sure it was something I could do. So it was at this exact point in my life 20 years ago that I realized that life wasn't interrupting. Life was actually happening, and I never made a plan again. Balance is bullshit. Okay. Now, I actually got into a Twitter war over this with a guy who claimed that as in nature, balance is necessary to human life. Like someone without a uterus can even relate. So anyway, unless you're doing a headstand, balance is unattainable. You know, life is a teeter-totter. Sometimes you're up, other times you're down, but that's what makes it fun, right? Sometimes you're cranking on an idea and there'll be nothing in the fridge for like weeks. Other times you'll be nursing a sick child and completely neglect to call into the meeting that you set up. That's the way life comes at you. Balance is an overpromise. It's unrealistic, and it's dangerous. Don't trust it. Just when you think everything is in perfect harmony, someone jumps off the teeter-totter and you land smack on your butt. And remember how much that one hurt. Listen to what the universe is telling you. This is where the meditation comes in handy. Thank you. Okay, this is a tough one and a place where hindsight is spectacularly helpful, but trust me, when the universe has a message for you, you need to listen. It may be subtle, but it's going to be persistent. And I think that's the gift of Campbell. You know, once we moved east from California to enroll him in school, I got involved with Perkins as a way of giving back. I recognized early on that while Perkins is the best place for our son, it had the potential to be so much more. I joined the board, kicked off a $130 million capital campaign, the first of its kind, and created a yearly fundraiser, which is attended by over 600 of Boston's finest. I helped shift the strategic plan and built a center for students and technology that has brought the campus and programs into the 21st century. Perkins now serves children on campus, in the Commonwealth, throughout the US, and in over 60 countries. Awareness of and support for Perkins are at unprecedented levels. Most importantly, perceptions of what blind children are capable of are shifting, creating more possibilities for their futures. So the universe brought me Campbell, and blind children throughout the world are benefiting. I just visited India, where I can agree with Brooke. It's the most chaotic place I've ever been. And I saw firsthand children practicing tactile sign language that we taught Helen Keller 170 years ago, and doing Perkins lessons on computers. It gave me goosebumps to see that. I'm using my marketing skills in a way I could never have predicted. My life experience and my professional experience happen to be the perfect combination to help transform Perkins. Coincidence? And Celtics fans are benefiting as well, because were it not for Campbell, we wouldn't have made the move to Boston. Wick wouldn't have led a group of investors to buy the Celtics. There'd be no Big Three or Banner 17. The universe works in truly mysterious ways. Seek authenticity in yourself and in others. Okay, granted, this isn't even remotely business related, but it's solid advice, so I'm gonna share it with you. The world is full of people who don't know who the F they are. They morph themselves into someone they think can attract the most followers. The more high profile their followers, the better they look. They lure you with their beautiful veneers, tempt you with the promise of a big fun life, and they make you feel important. Avoid them. They will suck the life out of you. How do you identify these people? Okay, that's simple. You have to examine people's motives. I learned that the hard way. Once we got involved with a team, a slew of people popped into my life. I naively thought they all wanted to be my friend, to help with my causes, and to connect with me. But I quickly realized I was a conduit to making them feel better about themselves. And in some twisted quid pro quo, I gave them access to the Celtics life, and I got to be their friend. So one day I woke up and I decided to be done with all of that. I stayed true to myself, taking stock in who I was, more importantly, who I wasn't. And it became much easier to connect with people who are, in fact, friends, people who value family and community, who care about others. I'm so relieved and much happier, so do this now. Get rid of those people. Tick effing tock. This is my motto. You can get more of everything in life, more money, more clothes, more food, more gadgets, more stuff. But time is finite. It is your most valuable asset. Nothing is as precious as your time. So don't waste it. But more importantly, don't let other people waste yours. And if someone is, hold out your wrist, point to your watch, and say, tick effing tock. I promise they'll get the message. Excuses are a way of making sure nothing changes. See, I'm always learning, and I just recently learned this from an 80-year-old matriarch and founder of Mumbai's Schools for the Blind. You need to really stop making excuses and start making the things happen that you want to have happen. If she can do it in a place like India, I promise you can do it anywhere. Use your powers for good and not evil. You've heard me mention this. When we got involved with the Celtics, our lives really changed. Boston worships its sports teams, and for better or worse, being a team owner comes with a certain level of celebrity. We were thrust unwittingly into a spotlight. Now, as a marketer, I immediately saw the potential of this platform to elevate the profile of the nonprofits we work with. Every time there was an opportunity to be interviewed, Wick or I would simply talk about our causes. I helped organize the Shamrock Foundation, which supports over 300 charities. And we chose our charities as major partners of the foundation. So instead of using our newfound status to cut lines and demand, do you know who I am, treatment, we tried to use it to help others. Why? Because I truly believe in karma and not pretending to be someone I'm not. Stay curious. Learn. Be current. Keep your skills sharp. You never know when they'll be needed. Working with nothing but nonprofits for 20 years made me feel left out of the conversation. Twitter, Facebook, SEO, SEM, Google Analytics, oh my, what's it all mean? I somehow convinced Matt to hire me for some branding work, and it took me about 5 minutes to realize SEM is not a marketing strategy. Buying keywords is not a marketing strategy. Too many companies are making that mistake. I spent a brief but exhilarating time getting back in the game at Gemvara, and I've brought this learning and experience to my nonprofit work. I'm having the best time mentoring mass challenge startups on the importance of good old-fashioned branding, and I'm learning as much from them as they are from me. Life is hilly, appreciate the flat. In 2010, I lost my father after a long struggle with cancer. He and my Viennese mother were married for over 50 years. A little over a year later, my mom committed suicide. Shocked and basically unconscious, I realized the only thing I was capable of doing was putting one foot in front of the other, literally, walking. So I flew to California and went to a place called the Ashram with 14-mile daily hikes, and they give you no food there, which I didn't know. It's horrible. I was hungry and reflective. It was not a good combination. You quickly learn that the uphill climb is seemingly relentless. But you know, the downhill is no picnic either. It's super hard on the knees. So trust me, when you find yourself coasting along flat terrain, you need to appreciate it. Same with life. You need to take time to just embrace the mundane. You'll need every moment of it to recharge for the next hill. If you want a place at the table, hello, join a nonprofit. Every contact I've made in this town has been through my work with nonprofits, from successful venture capitalists to real estate magnates. Boards are populated with smart, benevolent, powerful individuals. It's through one of those contacts that I eventually landed at Jim Vara. I knew nobody when I moved here in '95, and nobody knew me. After offering to help with what I perceived was a lack of branding, I was asked to join an inaugural board at Boston Children's. Yes, that was my contribution, changing the name. I showed up to the first meeting in a brand new suit, nervous about all the heavies in the room. Apart from the trust staff, I was the only woman there. So before the meeting began, a very high-profile Boston billionaire looked over at me and said, "I take my coffee black." Confused, I responded, "I take mine with a little milk and sugar." Then I watched his face fall as I was introduced as the newest member of the trust. Now, I didn't allow his quip to jade my perception of him. I mean, come on. We've all experienced situations like that, right? We need to diffuse them with grace and handle them and not be bitter. You know, that man has gone on to become both a powerful mentor and a very close friend of mine. I joined boards based on my ability to be a doer, not necessarily a donor. I help with defining strategy and communicating their mission, as well as, of course, that all-important fundraising. Although I've helped raise millions of dollars for various causes, I've never directly asked anybody for money. See, I rely on that old sort of marketing thing. I try to connect the right target to the right message. It's important for me to teach these organizations how to fish so I can move on and get involved with new ones. I've enjoyed my work with everything from Cradles to Crayons, where I hosted a $1 million fundraiser that featured President Clinton. Try sharing a stage with that man. To Love Lane Special Needs Horseback Riding, where I was up there with the Allman Brothers. I didn't play, but it was fun. I serve on many board recruitment committees, and the universal struggle every charity faces is how to attract women. Men outnumber women on my boards at a rate of about 5 to 1. I mean, where are all of you? You're all members of the ad club, so clearly you have great skills. And trust me, these are skills that nonprofits really need. And talk about moving the needle. I mean, you want to feel heard, listened to, and helpful, join a nonprofit. I can't encourage you enough to get involved. Get on a committee with the intention of taking a board seat. Aim high. Don't sit on a committee. Run that place. There's so many great and important causes out there that need smart, sharp women like you. And there is plenty of room at that table. The end goal is happiness. This is my last tweet. Now, I don't want to get into the ongoing fray of the unfairness of the glass ceiling or the flooded basement. I'm tired of whining and regrets. Oh, I coulda, shoulda, woulda. And I'm really, really sick of woman-on-woman warfare. The point is, this isn't some national feminist agenda. This is your life. It's more personal than that. You need to make the best choices you can under your circumstances. As I've pointed out, life changes our plans. Don't allow other people's definition of success to influence yours. You possess all the intuition and skills you need to make the right call for you. Trying to meet others' expectations is just a no-win. The only times I've ever felt bad about my choices is when I felt that I wasn't meeting someone else's expectations of me. Screw that. My expectations for myself are high enough. Seek happiness. Will becoming a CEO make you happy? Is that your dream? Okay, go for it. If the organization you're in doesn't support women, leave, start your own, and put it out of business. Personally, yes. Personally, I was quite happy practicing yoga, attending committee and board meetings, and cooking my family dinner. Not that I didn't occasionally envy friends who got to go to work, dress up, and interact with grown-ups. Don't judge my journey, ladies. You don't know my path. Don't judge each other's journeys for that very same reason. I have met many, many types of women, and the universal characteristic of the happiest women is that they're good with exactly where they are, whether that means they're on the cover of Fortune or cleaning the kitchen or both. There are no right ways or right answers. You need to do what feels right for you. And we need to freaking support each other's choices, not criticize them. And don't forget to share your knowledge. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you all. You've been an amazing audience. As a closing, I'm going to share with you, because I didn't make it to 30 minutes, one of my happiest moments. This is at the 2010 Perkins Gala.
Where in hell can you go? Far from the things that you know, far from the sprawl of concrete that keeps crawling its way. About 1,000 miles a day.
Take one last look behind. Commit this to memory and mind. I don't miss this wasteland, this terrible place when you leave. Keep your heart off your sleeve. Motherland, cradle me. Close my eyes, lullaby me to sleep. Keep me safe, lie with me, stay beside me, don't go. Don't you go.
Oh, my 5 and dime queen, tell me, what have you seen? The lust and the avarice, the bottomless cavernous greed. Is that what you see? Oh,
Motherland, cradle me. Close my eyes, lullaby me to sleep. Keep me safe, lie with me, stay beside me, don't go. It's your happiness I want most of all, and for that I'd do anything at all. Oh, mercy me, if you want the best of it, or the most of love. If there's anything that I can do at all. Shotgun bride, what makes me envy your life? Faceless, nameless, innocent, blameless, and free. What's that like to be? Oh, motherland, cradle me. Close my eyes, lullaby me to sleep. Keep me safe, lie with me, stay beside me, don't go. Don't go. Oh, motherland, cradle me. Close my eyes, lullaby me to sleep. Keep me safe, lie with me, stay beside me, don't go. don't go.
Beautiful voice.
Thanks again.